Hello everyone, Silverax Gaming here, and today I thought I would make a video ranking all of the available modded monsters for Monster Hunter Iceborne. Now, I haven't played all of them, but I've played quite a few, and I think I have a good pulse on which ones are the best ones. And I could update this in the future, but we'll just have to see about that. So, yeah, first of all, I'd like to start with the honorable mentions. There are quite a few that I really like, and/or I like the idea of them, but I just don't feel like I should put them on the list for certain reasons. The first one you're watching right now is the Arc-Tempered Fatalis mods. There's an EX mod, and there's a separate Arc-Tempered Fatalis. I really like them a lot. I thought Fatalis could have been harder, and this kind of makes Fatalis a lot harder. Why they're honorable mentions is that, and yeah, you can just see in the video right there, I took a hit that almost killed me from basically full health, and that's kind of what I'm talking about. But yeah, I just didn't feel like putting monsters in the list that were virtually just strict HP and attack buffs. I like them a lot, but yeah, they're just Arc-Tempered Fatalis. They're not trying to change the fight all that much. So they didn't change hitboxes as far as I know. Just the monster's defense and HP. So yeah, Arc-Tempered Fatalis mod for sure is I really like. Honorable mention there. Honorable mention to Snow Ninja Nargacuga and Abyssal Ajnath. I haven't played them, but from the footage I've seen, I think they turned out really well. I think Snow Ninja Nargacuga is basically a Barith in Nargacuga skin. And even if that's the case, the fight still looks really awesome. So I would implore people to check that out, and I'll work on getting it, but for whatever reason I can't get it to work on my computer. And I hear a lot of good things about the Abyssal Ajnath, so I recommend people give those a try if they feel inclined. And then finally, for the last honorable mention I'll have here is the Stygian Rajang. Now, the Stygian Rajang. I haven't tried to fight it too much, but I will tell you that it is definitely, from what I can tell, the hardest modded monster. It's borderline pure BS. I could have a compilation, and I might do that for kicks. And it wouldn't be very hard, where you can go from full health to dead in like 2 seconds, and you won't even know what he did. he just kills you immediately. And it's really cool that all of his, it's honorable mention, it's really cool that they changed all his moves to like red dragon element moves. It's really neat, but he just does all these like he leaps from his spot, and that alone just causes dragon explosions that kill you and cover like all the ground that you can't evade. It's borderline pure BS, but I do like it a lot for the aesthetic at least. Stygian Rajang actually looks probably as cool as you would imagine him to. So first up, I'm going to talk about the Alastra. And if you don't know, this monster is, I believe, a Teostra or Lunastra skin, and he's a play on Elatreon, so he's mastered all 5 of the elements for a Teostra. He is who I would consider the George Lucas of monsters, though. Not that that's a bad thing. If that's your thing, that's awesome. He's definitely one of the most spectacle-based fights I've seen, but he does also have dynamics that change throughout the fight, of course. One being, when Master Rank Teostra sends out Blast Blight everywhere, and it explodes, that turns into Water Blight, and that turns into a water explosion, which doesn't sound terrible, but it's actually very deadly. It can kill you very easily. That move is really cool. There's just so many moves that have changed with them. So, yeah, spectacle based, 10 out of 10. He just looks awesome, and he's got like lightning and dragon and fire just like orating around him like a freaking Dragon Ball Z character the whole time. Looks phenomenal. Really steals the screen. So spectacle is just great. You can't get any better than Alastra. Also the fight dynamics change a lot. He's got a lot of new moves. and you want to go in probably with a totally different build, which is actually the case with a lot of these modded monsters, is that you actually have to make builds for them, which is really cool. I'm glad that, you know, because as a pretty good player, I would think I'm kind of tired of just having like one build that takes care of 80% of things, but a lot of these modded monsters require new builds. One of them, you can skimp out on some of the water resistance, some of the resistances. You don't need water as much. You might not need ice. I think you can deal with that, but for my build, I came in with Thunder, Dragon, and Fire, of course, because he still has a lot of fire attacks. Also, mechanically, his weak point are actually his hind legs, which is the case with a couple of these monsters, and I'm not sure if it was the creator's idea to kind of have a new weak point on some of these monsters. But yeah, Alastra's weak points are the hind legs. You can hit the head, you can hit the tail and the wings, and all that's fine, but actually when you hit the hind legs, it does a lot more damage. But for Alastra, it comes with a catch, and the catch is that there is a cloud of dragon blight next to its hind legs for when it's enraged. Which, yeah, it's really interesting. It makes you want to bring dragon resistance on your build, because you can proc Coalescence so easily, but you know, there's constant dragon explosions happening on its hind legs when you're next to it. It actually kind of nullifies peak performance too. I mean, yeah, I'm just talking about this because, again, it makes you think, like, how do I combat this? Or what do I do with this? If I want Dragon Blight, you know, or if Dragon Blight doesn't matter because I have, like, a great sword and it doesn't really care, I don't really care what the element is, then fine, but yeah, it makes you think. It's really cool. And now for the downside. I do like this mod a lot. There's a lot of cool things. I will say, and you'll see this throughout the video, but I have to give it a spot at the bottom, which again doesn't mean that it's bad. It's actually really great. But I'm really annoyed with some of these mods and how they have other monsters on the field. I absolutely don't think that's like maybe I can understand from a modder's perspective. Maybe they like turf wars and they want people to have the turf war option. But when you do this quest, and it doesn't change the monster forever, it just has that monster for that quest as far as I know. There's a Rajang, or oh no, I think there's a Rajang and a Stygian Zenogre on the field, and both of them will constantly try and interrupt your quest. And that's really unfortunate. I just want to fight these guys in an arena where I get to just fight them and just worry about them, but I ended up having to bring dung pods and things to create dung pods on this quest because they were always trying to interrupt. They're right around where you have to fight Alastra. Alastra. I'm not going to have consistent pronunciation of Alastra, but yeah, so that I have to lower it a little bit for that, and also, yeah, he's kind of the George Lucas monster, which means everything's on the screen all the time. I do like things that change mechanics, but I also think that there's a fine line between changing mechanics and just kind of having everything on the screen all the time. The more you fight him, the more you do learn and adapt, so he's not actually as bad as I initially thought, but I will tell you that, like, running him, it kind of just felt like I would go by his hind legs and just kind of pray and hope that too much wasn't going to hit me. I was kind of hoping that Rocksteady and Temporal would pan out. So yeah, Alastra is number 6. Number 5 is Lightning Odogaron. And yeah, kind of like with Alastra, I would love to rank it higher, but you can't fight it elsewhere, and there are monsters, though it's not as bad as Alastra, that impede your fight. I still think Lightning Odogaron is a pretty fantastic mod. Yeah, so they take the Ebony Odogaron skin, and yep, the hind legs are indeed the weak point, which is, you know, it's interesting, but I like the idea of it. So spectacle-wise, he isn't exactly, yeah, he's not Alastra. It's not crazy awesome effects everywhere, but a lot of his lightning attacks are pretty cool and fun to look at, so I'll definitely say he does have some spectacle to him. And as far as the mechanics of the fight go, you do want to have a different mod. Obviously, lightning resistance. you will have to pick between Rocksteady and Lightning Proof Mantle. Lightning Proof Mantle should keep you alive, but Rocksteady will help you do more damage, and if you can get Divine Blessing to help nerf some of those hits, that's really nice. Also, Temporal Mantle, you're not sure if you really want to bring that. A lot of his strongest and worst lightning attacks won't trigger your Temporal Mantle, so there's a move where he takes off, and you're like, alright, you know, Ebony Odogaron, you get used to him. He takes off, and, you know, he takes off, whatever. No, when Lightning Odogaron takes off, it triggers this lightning attack that, you know, cakes the ground and covers the ground in lightning that stuns you and won't trigger Temporal Mantle, and then it'll do like a lightning strike in a line that if that hits you, that definitely will kill you. Yeah, his lightning attacks would make Kieran blush. His lightning is so ridiculous, and it's really cool because, yeah, it is definitely one of those fights you can learn. When you first fight him, you're like, okay, this is BS. Like, this monster is nonsense. But when you learn, like, oh, that happens because he went into the air, like, or he jumped away, like, that's just what happens. Then you know to run away, or you know to Superman dive, or try and evade it, and yeah, it's really neat. And like I said, you bring Lightning Proof Mantle, and that will actually help you sustain a lot of those hits, and it'll help you be able to jump away. Yeah, this mod definitely remixes some of his attacks. When he jumps in the air, and you know he usually splashes Lightning Blight on the ground, a Dragon Explosion, that move, he does that, and you're kind of like, alright, that might hit me, you know, no big deal. I was like, no. When Lightning Odogaron shoots lightning onto the ground, he jumps in the air like that, that'll kill you. That'll straight up kill you. You need to, you know, if you have a Lightning Proof Mantle, you might survive, but if you don't have anything, you will die. So he's definitely very deadly. So yeah, Lightning Odogaron is definitely number 5. He has some spectacle, and I love the mechanics of his fight. Again, I really don't like having to deal with other monsters. I think usually this map has Glavenus and some other monster to it. Not a big fan of that. Just my 2 cents for future modders. You should have a quest that, you know, yeah, it's Elder's Recess and there's other monsters and fine, and just put one more in there, or it's just a special arena, or any arena, I don't care. Just have it as an option, so the player can decide, you know, what he wants to do. Now, on to number 4, we're going to talk about the Diorekkusu. I am not sure how to pronounce that, but I am a big fan of this mod. The skeleton for this mod uses the Brute Tigrex skeleton and adds lightning effects to a lot of his attacks, and mainly to the ends of his attacks. And it seems obnoxious at first. He'll do an attack, and you'll be, you know, kind of frustrated because after that attack, like let's say he pushes forward some rocks or he screams, you know, he roars, and you usually iframe it and start attacking. Well, at the end of the roar, lightning comes down, or it sparks, I should say, in front of you. It's more of like a lightning cloud, and yeah, it just goes boof, and it can hit you pretty hard. So at first you're not used to it, and it can be frustrating, but when you learn the fight, you'll feel very rewarded. At least I did. That's one thing I really liked about this mod, was that, yeah, like when you learned it, you really learned it, and you could kick the crap out of them. So it felt really rewarding. I'll say the effects are also kind of cool too, because, like I said, I think it's lightning. And with its lightning, yeah, it's not like lightning strikes like a lot of monsters. It's more of a lightning cloud, a lightning poof, if you will. Yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool. And of course, you know, my pet peeve, and the main thing being, is that this changes Brute Tigrex for all of them. Tigrex or Brute Tigrex, one of the two. And it changes it for all of them. So you can do a special arena quest and fight him in the special arena and not have to bother fighting him anywhere else, which makes it super fun. You know, I never fought the Diorekkusu in the other games, so I don't know if it does it justice. Someone else would have to tell me, but I can tell you that it is a lot of fun and definitely worth checking out. This mod actually also changes the color of the armor for, again, Tigrex or Brute Tigrex. So now when you go into the screen, for your armor and you want to put it on, it's blue. I actually think it looks better. I hated the way the Tigrex armor looked. The Brute Tigrex armor looks okay, but yeah, so this replaces it with blue. It's really nice. Yeah, as far as I can tell, there's no changes to its hit boxes or hit zones, so, you know, you just hit it in the face and the arms as per usual. It's mainly the blue sparks that have changed for this monster. So yeah, big fan. Moving on to number 3, and number 3, Heretic, Shara, Ishvalda. I'm really happy about this mod. I'm glad they got something out of the skeleton. I really like Shara Ishvalda the first few times you fought him, and I think a lot of people felt the same way. Shara Ishvalda is actually a really fun fight the first time you fight him. And yeah, he's the endgame boss. I think after a while, you kind of, you know, after you fight him the 4th or 5th time, you kind of learn how slow the fight is. You know, you got to break down the rocks. And then, you know, he's got these really awesome moves. You know, big explosions with the sand pits and the spirit bombs and the, you know, invisible laser beams. It's all really cool, but, you know, when you learn the fight, it's, you know, they're really easy to dodge, and so it doesn't seem like there's a lot, you know, really going on with the fight after you learn it, and especially when you get endgame gear, Shara is just really easy. So what this mod did is, you know, it's more of a visual mod. I can't say that it changes the dynamics of the fight too much. I would have enjoyed if, like these awesome looking sand pits here, I would have enjoyed if they gave you fire blight or did some kind of fire damage. It wouldn't have to do much, but it would have added to the fight a little more. Yeah, I really like it. I think it's more visual and it gives you something more to look at. And and it gives you fire blight, so you know you can bring coalescence, so that changes as opposed to normal Shara Ishvalda. It just adds a whole other level of spectacle, and it is a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. I also highly recommend the music too, because it sounds a lot like the Shara Ishvalda theme, but it gives it a little extra. It gives it a little something different. Yeah, so if you're one of those people that wanted to really like Shara Ishvalda after the first few times, I highly recommend you pick this up and just check it out for yourself. Now, on to number 2. Crazy thing about this mod is that it's not even done, but boy oh boy is it really awesome. White Fatalis. This was exactly what I was hoping for when I heard they were coming out with Fatalis. I'm like, oh, thank gosh they had the skeleton, because I know the modding community, some hero out there is gonna make this White Fatalis. They're gonna make Crimson Fatalis, and you know, and there's no limit on it. Maybe one day they'll make an Ice Fatalis, Water Fatalis. Why not? Water, electric, you can go crazy, but for now, what we have under construction, unfinished, is the White Fatalis mod. I'm a big fan of this mod, and you know, he's updated it a few times and it's actually made it a lot better over time. At first it was, well, the look of White Fatalis has changed a little bit. First, I don't think the guy knew how to do the visual stuff very well, so he just basically coded White Fatalis in all white. He might be getting help now, but now he's changed the horns, and now the chest glow red in the 2nd and 3rd stages. So it's getting closer to there visually. It doesn't quite have the beard there yet. Yeah, but it's really cool though. Over time he's changed more of the attacks to lightning. Now the fire cone attack is lightning. Now the yeah, just a lot of attacks are lightning. I feel like maybe there's a couple more that I can't mention or I'm not mentioning right now, but yeah, it's really cool. I hope that there's some kind of remixed music to like some renovated White Fatalis theme music. That would be really cool in the future. Maybe in the future there could be you know, like Kieran's lightning thing, where, you know, like there's just lightning bolts that kind of land everywhere. I hope that would be in the game, because that was in the original White Fatalis fight, or at least the one in Generations that had the lightning bolts go across the stage and you had to run. You know, it was like for 30 seconds you and your teammates had to run away from the lightning, so that was really cool. But yeah, now to talk about this mod. So of course, yeah, the effects are really great. It's all been changed to lightning for the most part. Not the super special, or not as Nova, where you're supposed to run to the barricade, that's still fire. But for the most part, his moves have changed to lightning, and they are really cool. This does change the dynamic of the fight a little bit. Yeah, it makes proccing Coalescence really easy if you bring null berries. If it's Fire Blight, you have to roll around. You know, and that's pretty easy too, but this lets you bring null berries, and basically all of his hits give you Lightning Blight. So, you know, it's a double-edged sword because that can make it easier to stun, which is something I really like because now there's a kind of a purpose to the Fatalis head piece that they have. The Fatalis headpiece comes with level 3 stun resistance, which a lot of people don't opt for, but if you want to fight this and you don't want to get stunned and you want to have a more defensive build, well, you put on that Fatalis headpiece and it's kind of meta for this fight, which is pretty cool. I do believe the main attack that has changed is, you know, in the third phase when he starts, there's a good minute where he starts shooting fire. Normal Fatalis will shoot fire, and you know you're hitting his stomach, and it's nowhere near you. He's kind of just looking off in the distance and shooting fire. Well, White Fatalis fixes that, and it's really horrifying. He'll aim, you know, so he'll kind of look off in the distance and shoot dragon explosions normally, but he'll also there's also one that explodes right to where his stomach is, so you can't just sit there and hit his stomach for like a minute and get away with it. Like it'll explode somewhere else and it'll explode on his stomach. So yeah, you either have to iframe that, or like me, you can just run and Superman dive and pray to not die, because it does less damage but it hits you a lot easier and it has a much bigger hitbox. Also, his big explosive attack at the that he does through all 3 phases. The one where he charges up and he shoots an explosion and then he flies into the air a little bit. That attack is now like a Dragon Thunder. It gives you just Thunder Blight, but it's Dragon Thunder, and that's a very cool effect. Yeah, overall, I just love this mod. This is really fun. I think he did a good job, and I cannot wait for it to be finished. And then hopefully we'll see all the other ones too. And finally, number 1. This goes to Netherworld Nergigante. This mod just masters virtually everything I would look for in a mod. It redesigns the monster in just the slickest, coolest way that you never even thought of. The purple and red, just, you know, it adds like a demonic kind of aura around Nergigante that you never thought of, but now that it's there, it's like you can't unsee it. It's really great. And now he has dragon and fire moves, which, you know, makes sense. You know, he's like this elder dragon, but he doesn't have any elements, which I get. It truly feels like a variant. Like, this could actually exist in Monster Hunter. I mean, it fits so well. It fits that well with the universe. And it looks just super cool. You know, he'll put his arm into the ground and he'll drag across, and it'll just be explosions of fire just going off and dragon, and you know, and then yeah, there's another move where he just punches the ground, and it's the move where he'll punch the ground, and when he pops up, spikes kind of fly everywhere. That gets replaced with like dragon and fire explosions. So if you're close to that, that'll hit you really hard. There's so many details about this fight that I would just love to go over. It is just perfect. Yeah, so the spectacle is totally there, but really what really sets this fight apart is that it's so learnable. Like, at first, there's so much that seems crazy. He has that explosion attack, and it literally blinds the screen, and you think, man, this is crazy. Like, I can't see anything. But the more you fight it, and the more you know that is coming, if you can iframe that explosion, you can get free hits. You'll do it blind, but you can get free hits, and that feels really rewarding. It makes you feel like some kind of kung fu master that's been blindfolded, but you still know how to fight the monster. There's one run I didn't post, but yeah, I got blinded, and then I rolled down a hill, and I with dual blades, of course, and I rolled all the way across his back and knocked it down, completely blind. Oh gosh, it's just such a creative like thing. Yeah, if it hits you, it knocks you down, and you can see it on your health bar. So the health bar will tell you if you got hit by it. But yeah, so that move is just really cool. If you evade it or if you can get around it and still hit him, oh, so rewarding, so rewarding. Yeah, everything with this mod. I think it changes the theme. The theme is great. The monster recoloring is great. The mechanics, everything. Just this is like perfect. Again, the original quest that this mod comes with isn't very great, but this is one of those. It's like a Diorekkusu that it'll change the monster, the whole monster for just everything. So what I'd recommend is getting this mod and then going and doing like Ode to Destruction or something and fighting it there. Oh, just great. Perfect. This is like, this sets the bar. This is very high bar. I love Netherworld Nergigante. It's just totally fantastic. And alright, with that, I believe that covers the top 6 mods. You know, if you're a modder out there and I didn't cover yours, I'm sorry. I would love to get recommendations. I would love to fight more monsters. Yeah, I think the modded community is going to do a great job with this game when they're done updating it in December. I'm looking forward to seeing all these creations, and yeah, and like I said, I like everything on this list, even Stygian Rajang, which I haven't beat. I will beat it. Yeah, even that stuff that's kind of like more, I don't know, BS. But yeah, I love all these mods, and if I included your mod, I didn't mean to insult anything. They're all good. But yeah, this is just how I'd rank them and what I like about them. Yeah, so thanks for watching, and tune in next time. Thank you.